Hey there, everyone. It's Camber here with the YoPro No. I'm here tonight with Tom Bennett, a business development representative out in Denver, Colorado for a company called Nylas, which he's going to talk more about today. But first, just want to give you some context. Tom and I go way back. We were just
Way
talking.
back.
We've known each other since 2012. We are both from Baltimore, Maryland, and both found ourselves in South Carolina for college. So Tom moved out to Denver about a year ago, and he is here to tell us his story today, particularly how it pertains to the current crisis that our country is in. I think y'all will learn a lot from him. So, without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to you, Tom, to give us a little bit of background, and then we'll dive more into the details.
Yeah, perfect. Just to give a quick background, I'm in sales. I'm a business development representative, as Camber mentioned. To give a quick contextual analysis as to how I ended up in sales, I graduated from Furman in 2017 with Camber and moved out to Breckenridge, Colorado to be a ski bum, for lack of a better term. But while I was there, I just kind of decided that interacting with customers and helping people buy products that'll help their lives and improve their day-to-day was something that I was really interested in. So I ended up moving to Denver. I've been in Denver since September of 2019. When I got to Denver, I was working for a company called Inspirato. Inspirato is a luxury travel and hospitality company, and that's really where my coronavirus story begins. So everything was going really well at Inspirato. It was an amazing, amazing product, amazing people, and the company seemed to be on really, really solid foundations. As we approached March, however, started to see some red flags. Things with Corona started to spread across the world. The media was starting to really blow it up, and that obviously really impacted travel. It's kind of an interesting economic case study in terms of what was impacted first. Our industry felt it very hard and very quickly, primarily because it is a luxury good and it is involved with travel. So when you have kind of that discretionary purchasing with regards to something that is so impacted by a global pandemic, that is the first thing to go. We were sitting in March at Inspirato, mid-March, at about 2% revenue attainment for the month. And I'm very was in tune with reports in terms of how sales were going. And it was evident that something was wrong. To give a quick anecdote to how things happened, the night before we all got laid off at Inspirato, we got an email. There is an email with one group, all of the BDRs and low performing account executives, and another group that had all the senior account executives in it. The main difference was our group had HR. So that's obviously a pretty big red flag. We got pulled into a conference room the next morning very early, and they parted ways with about 125 people in one morning. So it was a very big, drastic change. So coronavirus very quickly impacted that industry, seemingly overnight. It was amazing to see how a global pandemic really hit that industry hard and hit that industry first.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for giving that context because
Yeah.
I can only imagine getting that email one. And, I can't imagine how you were feeling at that point, especially when you're like, things have been going so well. I wasn't expecting this. So naturally, how did you react to that? And what was your immediate next move?
Yeah. So obviously you're bummed out. It's never fun being laid off, but this is where resilience really and just being able to bounce back is really important. I really wasted no time. The day I got laid off, I was reaching out to people all over Denver to see what kind of opportunities I could find. And Wilson Roberts, another Furman graduate, was actually instrumental in helping me take a next step. The company I'm currently working for, Nylas, Wilson also works at and gave me a very strong referral. But you really need to move quickly in a situation like that. I think it was very important to understand that this situation shouldn't get you down. It's out of your control. And what as a young professional you should do is look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what's my next step? What's my next move? What's plan A, plan B, and plan C? So you can effectively and quickly pivot to a new industry. Something important that I thought was looking at industries that weren't as impacted by Corona or were impacted positively. And for me, one of those was software sales. Software in general started to take off. You look at things like Zoom, what I'm doing currently, which is API integrations for calendar, contact, and email providers. You need to find those avenues, those windows, so that you can really take advantage of a situation as opposed to just languishing in it. You can't sit back on your heels and feel bad for yourself. It's one of those deals where you got to get motivated and you got to keep moving.
Right. And I think it's so easy for people to do the opposite, which is, feel sorry for yourself, say, oh, well, I'm going to give myself a little bit of time. And then some time turns into a lot of time. And so it's great to hear that you went right away and you were like, no, I'm not going to be jobless for a while. And it was a very quick turnaround for you. How quick was it?
Less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So awesome. That's great for you.
Amber, something huge here that really speaks to that quick moving testament is that since March 14th, there have been 26.5 million people who have filed for unemployment. In that 26.5 million, I guarantee there is a large number of young professionals.
Absolutely.
So when you're looking at how we're going to come out the other side of this, again, it's that economic case study. You think supply and demand. A lot of jobs are not going to be available that were previously, and you're going to have a lot more competition for those jobs. So I really think it's important as a young professional now to work those contacts, leverage people you went to school with, call those references, and understand that there is a way out and there is a next move. That's a staggering number though, 26.5 million. I read that and couldn't believe it.
Keeps growing every week. I don't know if you read the Morning Brew, but every morning I get that. And I feel like every week there's been just a huge increase, and it's alarming. But again, the points that I want to take away from this conversation is that it really is about who you know. It's about building on the connections you already have. It's about staying positive. That's something I've always admired about you. And I think
thank you.
It's so important to stay positive, because the alternative is being negative, and the outcomes when it goes to south they're still negative. So I think staying extremely positive, using those connections. And I think another piece is to understand that if this does happen to you, there will be, it's a competitive market now. So making sure that you do things to stay ahead as a young professional is really crucial.
Yeah. And let's talk about that, because that's actually something I wanted to touch on. How do you stay sharp? How do you stay motivated? The temptation when you get laid off is to sleep in, just not even focus on improving yourself, to again feel bad, to think that you're the victim, when in reality you're just not. Something that was important to me was maintaining my routine, getting up at a reasonable hour, listening to my podcast. I love Up First, the NPR podcast. I think it gives you a great 15-minute recap to start the day, and set goals. Have your calendar set, have things in place that allow you to move forward and to do so efficiently. If you don't do that, again, you can fall into that trap. And before you know it, you're competing for a job that might have had 10 applicants before this, now has 100. So it really is important to set those routines and set yourself up for success from the get-go.
Absolutely. I think those are some great points, and I'm glad you brought those up. I think they will be some great takeaways for people listening to this interview. And one thing that I know before we wrap up, because I'm mindful of time here, want to ask you, what are your aspirations now? I mean, they might be different than when you initially started at Inspirato, but where do you see yourself going?
That this whole world of software is really cool. It was a big time pivot, and to learn about everything going on in the software world was awesome. So I see myself staying in this industry for a while, hopefully rising through the ranks here at Nylas, and becoming an account executive eventually here, hopefully in the next 12 months, and to really start making it happen for myself, and to, again, learn more about this software industry. I think it's a really cool place to be, and I think it is a lot of uncapped potential.
Well, I have no doubt that you will do great things. So really excited. Thanks so much for taking the time to join the YoPro today, Tom. We love having you.
Yeah, thank you, Canberra. I appreciate you having me on, and say hello to all the listeners, and I hope you guys take away something from this.